All right, Monarchs, we're going to talk about the downfall of America and how that Christ ESP, extra sensory perception, needs to pick up on the downfall of America, which is happening before your eyes. Now, one of my brothers in Christ sent me this video, and I'm going to play it for you. And I want you to listen to what this man is saying in the video. All right, take a listen.
By tonight, more than in order for it to succeed, the United States stayed in the not only must the US economy collapse and the dollar collapse, dollar collapses and found the whole world of paper money with it. Not only must the United States collapse its economy and money, but in addition, it has to wage a big war. Even non-Muslim analysts are now anticipating. A big war. Even Jews now within, I'm getting even Jews with Jewish academics who are up in opposition to the Sharon government are now understanding something big about to happen, warning the world about it. It has to wage this big war, which is already planned long ago. Territory of the state of Israel dramatically expand. Palestinian problem will be solved, exported out. That is the massive rights crime that the Israeli academics are now anticipating warning the world. But in addition, in order for Israel to become the ruling state in the world, not only must he take control of all of this territory, he must also control the oil.
All right, so he said a lot. So we're going to break down what he said, and then we're going to show you proof of what he said. This has been a plan that has been operating for a very, very long time. So we're going to precept some videos with this video. I'm sorry I couldn't pull it up. It wouldn't let me download this video. But we're going to precept these videos, and we're going to show you what is really happening in case your ESP did not pick it up. Okay, that inner Christ eye did not pick it up. So we're going to help you today to understand what this gentleman said almost 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago, he said that the plan is really for Israel to surpass America. And then really the only way to do that is to cause calamity in America, which we see is happening in 2024. Been happening over the years, but now they are going forward with this 100%, and they're not letting anybody stand in their way to allow Israel to surpass America, because all of our lives they have conditioned us to believe that America is the greatest country upon the earth. But now we have a problem because we have Joe Biden, who claims to be a Zionist, and we have Trump's unconditional support for Israel. So this is going to go forward whether we like it or not. Whether you red-blooded Americans like it or not, they are going to push that Israel to the forefront and allow Israel to control the world. And this is a prophecy that my grandfather shared in the spirit, right? He gave us already this foresight so that we can understand it when it happened, and it's happening right now. So this is going to trip a lot of you out, but just stay tuned. Let's precept some videos. Let's read some scriptures about Israel surpassing America and the downfall of America in order to allow Israel to surpass America.
You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist. I got in trouble, got criticized very badly by the southern part of my state and some of the southern parts of the country when 35 years ago I said, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. Folks, were there no Israel, there wouldn't be a Jew in the world that was safe. Were there no Israel? Hold it down too. I make no bones about it. I've had my differences with some Israeli leadership. I've known Bibi for now 51 years. He has a picture on his desk of he and I when he was a young member of the Israeli service here, foreign service. And I was a 32-year-old senator. And I wrote on the top of it, Bibi, I love you, but I don't agree with a damn thing you have to say. It's about the same today. I love him.
Okay, so we just heard Biden say that he is a Zionist, meaning that he's an agent of Israel, and wonder why this country has experienced the type of policies that we have experienced in the last 4 years is because President Biden and the Harris administration has been assisting with Israel to bring America down to the point that Israel become now the number one country in the world. And so Biden has been assisting with that. We haven't, our extra sensory perception didn't pick up on that until now, but we picked up on it now. All right. And so I want y'all to understand that Biden has always been agent Israel. He has said this over his whole career. So uh it's not a figment of my imagination that what has played out in the last 4 years of his administration was to assist with this plan, bring America down to such a level that Israel can now call the shots. That's what's going on. They want Israel to call the shots. So now let's listen to this video, a clip, and I think it's from Status Quo News, and I want you to listen to the effects of this agenda playing out right now, right in front of your faces. Okay, take a listen.
You live about an hour outside of Asheville, North Carolina. Everybody on TV is seeing Asheville and the horrifying images of just the whole community seems like it's underwater. But this is spread far and wide, Hurricane Helene's devastation in Asheville and further out. Can you describe, again, I think you're about an hour outside of Asheville. Can you describe what's going on where you are, what your neighbors are dealing with, the long lines for everything from gas to food? And it seems, despite what we're hearing media, FEMA and the federal government might not be doing as thorough of a job as we need.
Absolutely. So I am in Forest City, North Carolina. We're in the foothills of the mountains, about an hour from the center of Asheville. We did sustain a lot of damage, but it was mostly high winds. We do have some flooding, but our town has, it's most of it's remained. The people are doing pretty well. We do have to, like, gas is limited. We have to sit in line for about an hour, and then you may have a $20 or $50 limit on what you can get, which you just burnt sitting there for an hour. And that's if you can find it. Like I said, we're fortunate we have gas. But around us, every county, oh my goodness, the damage is devastating. Buncombe County, Mitchell County. The damage is devastating. Buncombe County, Mitchell County, all around us, McDowell County, Henderson County. The damage is just incredible. I've got, so Chimney Rock, parts of Asheville, parts of Hendersonville, Marshall, Bryson City, Cherokee, and the lower parts of Lake Lure were or are still underwater. There are people that are still stranded. They're not getting help. They're stranded. They're landlocked. They're in floods. And FEMA, okay, so I did go up into Asheville yesterday. There's one way in and one way out. I actually made it up into Asheville and around into OT. And the damage, I mean, houses literally washed down the road, or they're covered. There's mudslides. But Asheville, there's so many dead bodies that you can smell it. The stench is becoming unbearable. Like you can smell it. There are that many dead people. It's bad. It's very, very, like I can't describe to you how bad it is.
And when you say FEMA, is it that FEMA can't get into certain areas, or FEMA isn't doing enough?
They're not doing enough. Where I went to, we had family members in Asheville. We got to the house. They said that FEMA was there, asked what they needed. There's 2 babies in the house. It's what they needed. They said, we need water and formula. They left, never came back. How long are babies supposed to wait on formula? How long are people supposed to wait on water? How long are they supposed to wait? So they were there. They know what they need. But where are they? You know, we saw emergency vehicles riding around. We had to get into Asheville. We drove over live power lines and under fallen trees to get to our family members. The people are helping the people. The people are helping the people. But here's another problem. So they're telling people to donate to FEMA, not to bring supplies in, to donate to FEMA, and FEMA's got it under control. That is not the case. FEMA does not have it under control. Like I said, there are literally people still in floods right now that cannot get out. There are the people that did survive, they are in shock. They are traumatized. They watch their family members, they watch their neighbors die. We need help desperately.
All right, so you heard her say that there are so many dead bodies down there that the stench is getting to the people, right? So that's a lot of dead people. But remember what the plan is. The plan is to bring America down to the point that Israel can become the supreme country in the world. And this is why Russia and China are bugging out, because that means by default that America, or what we thought was America, has transferred to Israel. So that's like having America at their back door. That's like having America put his foot down in the Middle East, except for the fact that they're not going to call it America. They're going to still call it Israel. And so what these people are experiencing from Hurricane Helene, right? Because Alex Jones came on and they say, and he brought it out that they admitting that they caused this to happen. Like I told you, that they conjured up them demons, they conjured up those spirits, and then they carried this out themselves, okay, with them demons assisting them. So let's go to Alex Jones, all right? And the reason why I'm playing these videos on my phone, because they don't want the truth to come out. So they doing everything to slow down my computer. I mean, they wouldn't even let my computer come on except for the Most High let it come on so I can make this video. So I've been waiting like 2 or 3 hours to make this video. All right, so now let me find the Alex Jones clips, which another great friend of mine, right, sent to me, right? A brother I used to work with. He sent this clip to me because people are starting to wake up and they starting to realize what is happening. This country is going away. All right, so let's get into this Alex Jones recording that my friend sent over. Listen to what he says. Right? Listen to what he says about Helene.
Just broke. Congress is now confirming that Hurricane Helena did have U.S. government weather weapon planes in it. Now, we already have the facts. We already have the tail numbers. Don't even have this crap. It just broke. It's on Infowars.com. Right. Lawmakers briefed on weather modification. Hurricane was DOD. Yell with. So, you and Sharon with Colonel McGregor. Go ahead. Flips back to back.
The question here is, hurricanes differ from others that we've seen. I've already had a lot of people call me from the actual area, talk specifically about the horrendous damage, and many of them pointed out that that is not Hurricane Alley, per se. It's not an area that normally attracts storms. Can you help us understand this?
Bottom line is, it was directed as the transmission wordings clearly show. They kept that moisture corralled there to deluge in the same location. So, again, these are patented technologies, and the fact that we have the entire so-called meteorological community denying this is going on to protect their paychecks and pensions is absolutely criminal at this point. We know we have private defense contractors that are neck deep in the patents that manipulate these storms, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. You know, those two in modeling for the nation's weather, National Weather Service and NOAA. Again, both agencies have a legal federal gag order on them. So at this point, this is an emperor has no clothes moment. That's the best description I can give for something that is so.
Now, what he just said backs up what I said in the last video, that these people are committing a crime. And the public is just so dumbed down that they don't understand that these criminals and that they are criminals, what they're doing. All right, so he is absolutely right. You got to understand that this plan to allow Israel to surpass America is real. Okay? So Alex Jones is telling you, these men in these videos, they're telling you exactly what actually just happened. These people did what they did. Okay, listen.
Can only be considered weather warfare at this point, and the fact that, again, the so-called science community is denying this manipulation is criminal. It's absolutely criminal, Colonel McGregor.
Now you understand why so many of those weathermen, when they were looking at this thing happen, they knew, they can see that this is abnormal, that somebody put their hand into this. Now, I like to say that my grandfather was causing this to happen, right? But apparently they are doing whatever they're doing to allow America to fall and Israel to surpass America. And remember what that Muslim guy said at the beginning of this video. He said, what he said reminded me of something that was in the war scroll of the Lord. Just because, like, you have the Palestinians and the Israelis beefing right now, there are a lot of Palestinians that want to see Israel surpass America. They want to see that more. But you got a lot of Palestinians that are actually supporting Israel. Now, if you go back to when they said that they so-called attacked Israel, some of y'all can see that video, those videos, and see that that was staged. A lot of that stuff that happened was staged. So they was working together. That's what this guy was saying 20 years ago, that there would be a lot of Palestinians that would be supporting this move that Israel's trying to make. So you don't think that some of these people would play the role of the enemy in order to justify Israel doing what it's actually doing to America? And that we got one president that is for these people, then we got another guy trying to be president, and he's also for these people. So that means that America, no matter who you put in office, is going to fall. It's going to fall. And I think Kamala Harris, she is just out of her league. She's out of her league. And I think that she's on her own, right? I think that she's on her own. And that's why you got to understand that these people are committing a crime. But let's continue to watch this video. pull it back up.
Do so. Could you tell us about some of your recent discussions,
Listen.
conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you? Tell us. And how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was.
You see, some of these senators and some of these politicians are now waking up to what's really been happening. This is high treason. Okay, this is nothing less than high treason that's going on in this country to allow Israel to surpass America. Listen.
They're trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations and speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out. But the fact that the storm was.
Now, I'm going to go back to not only Katrina, because I'm going to go back to the lady in North Carolina speaking, the white lady speaking about the things in which she knew is happening. One of the things that she's going to say that happened is that they broke the dam, just like in Katrina, right? Just like in Katrina. But another thing I want to point out is that what he just said, that this is warfare. Somebody has committed an act upon this country. Didn't they say the same thing 2019, right? In 2020, that this was actually an attack as opposed to just some random pandemic? No. No, yes, they did say that. They did say it. All right, but let's go with the video.
You know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades.
They
The
could have stopped
manipulation
it.
of atmospheric pressure zones. HARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. It's a weapon of mass destruction, period. It can cause an electrical chain reaction in the ionosphere, which heats it to extraordinarily high temperatures, which causes the atmosphere to up and down. The downward.
Now, what he just said is, and years ago, I have this video somewhere on another computer of mine, but many years ago, there was a video that came on YouTube where somebody recorded how they took the water in the ocean with HARP and raised the water up in part of the ocean. And they raised that water up so high you couldn't believe it. Okay. And while the other water was just normal. And so this is what this man is saying. They are having meetings about this. So this is no longer a conspiracy theory. This is real. Y'all got to understand. Y'all got to stop watching LeBron James and worried about what's happening to Puffy. Y'all need to watch and see that your life is in jeopardy day by day, second by second at this point. But let's continue.
Pressure zones, when they have this type of power over the climate system, they can make or break these storms anytime they want. Again, what we see now, the storms kept weaker as they're over the ocean because they're harder to steer until they reach the land-based network transmitters. And then we have, Colonel McGregor, rapid intensification. You've heard that term probably a lot lately, because that's how they manipulate these storms. And again, we have Acapulco last October.
Pause. I got up 15 seconds. He's the head of the Hearing Watch on tomorrow for a full hour. Done it for 20 years. Testified to Congress, legislature, name it. Let me explain something to you. He brings in the weather mod whistleblowers. It never makes the news. Okay, legislatures, federal, you name it. Hear what he just said. Hurricanes always get weaker over land. Now they get stronger.
Now, the Holy Spirit just brought something to my attention. Remember that brother that was running for office somewhere in D.C. I don't know what ward he was running for, but remember he said that these people were controlling the weather, and they laughed at this brother. They laughed at that man. Everybody needs to give this man an open apology that criticized this man, that these people were actually doing it. Y'all remember that? That brother in D.C.? I might pull it up. I might not, but let's continue with this video. What these guys are saying. These are high stakes.
Manipulate. Have the flight pass. Finish up and then go to Rodney Howard Brown. Here it is.
That's how they manipulate these storms. And again, we have Acapulco last October being the extreme example of rapid intensification. Insignificant low pressure system developed into the strongest Cat 5 hurricane to ever hit that part of the world in less than 24 hours, laid waste to Acapulco. And by the way, Hurricane John, which just hit Acapulco again as Hurricane Helene was wreaking havoc in the Carolinas. Not many people know that. So Acapulco just got dealt another blow. So again, how many agendas and objectives are being carried out when we know they can manipulate storms and we know they can make or break them anytime they want? And again, I bring up the oil infrastructure in the Gulf of Mexico that seems to magically miss any sort of damaging storm again and again and again, while the storms wreak havoc inland on shorelines. It's not a coincidence.
Okay, so y'all heard that. So Acapulco got hit with 2 storms, just like America is. And he said that the natural way for a hurricane to behave when it goes over land is to get weaker, right? That's why over the last couple of days about Milton, they were saying that it was going to hit as a category 5, and now they just want to say, oh, it's going to just dissipate. But I don't think it's going to dissipate. They got too much juice up in this storm. They got too much, evil energy in this storm. So y'all that are stuck in Florida, we're going to pray for you. But now let's go to Doc Rich and let's hear what he had to say about them using this technology to disenfranchise Trump voters. So they on to this thing. Like I said, this is high stakes that's happening. America is falling. Y'all better get prepared for it because these people didn't come this far to stop. Okay, so this next clip is from Doc Rich. Listen to what the people say, his video clips, and just think about this plan. Just simply think about this plan.
I will draw your destiny. Virginia, about 30 minutes away from the North Carolina border. Today, my husband left to go help out. He took a truckload of supplies. He's meeting up with an organization there, and I don't know when he will be back. We heard from a friend, no personally, is in Swananoa helping out right now. Said everything we have heard on social media is true. That body count is astronomically higher than what we are being told. Said that they found 36 bodies in one embankment alone. He also said it's true that bodies are being found in trees. Said that started, and if how bad it really was riding.
Now think about that. And she just confirmed what the other lady said, and we'll go back to that video in a minute. But she said that there are bodies, they're finding bodies everywhere. Okay? And if we really knew what happened, there'd be no way that the Democrats can win this election. Matter of fact, I wouldn't think that the American people would trust the Democratic Party at all. Matter of fact, I believe that the Democratic Party should just simply be disbanded. They have become a national security threat. to the American people because they are in cahoots with this plan for Israel to surpass America as the #1 country in the world. Now let's continue.
That's from a woman whose husband has a first-hand account of what's actually happening. I want to play this other clip as well. I mean, there's so many of them. Let's continue.
For 9 days post-hurricane, and that was the first FEMA drop I've seen here in the Swannanoa area. I haven't seen a FEMA agent yet. This is all local volunteers from abroad, as far as Washington State, are coming out here to help and pick up the slack that's been left behind by government.
You know, and President Trump, he's not even in office, but yet he's still getting us Starlink, doing his best, taking all the trees. If we're talking about federal, since I didn't see my first FEMA truck until what is today, Saturday. I didn't see my first FEMA truck until Thursday afternoon. All I saw was a FEMA truck with a satellite on it, parked in the corner, underneath some big tree. Parking lot. No sound.
The word from the
I'm not gonna play that entire video because, like I said, I got a lot I want to get into and a lot I really want to say, to be completely honest. And you heard that there. But the narrative from mainstream media is that FEMA is helping out tremendously. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. Well, I mean, these are first-hand accounts, guys. These aren't my words. These are people are there.
supplies. Well, that turned out not only to be true, but now you're getting the reports from people saying that they're threatened to get arrested if they fly in or if they do any drop zone stuff. They're threatening truck drivers with arrest if they try to go in and impede in any way. What they're doing is they're flipping the script and they're calling rescue and relief, aiding in government affairs.
Hey, and if you don't want to believe regular citizens, which everybody is, take it from a police officer. Don't want to believe it.
Now everyone's heard about what's going on in the western part of Carolina, eastern Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. Donate. Please donate what you can. Try to find a nonprofit to donate to, a church, local PD. A lot of those are taking donations, sheriff's departments. I know my department is running a bunch of stuff to the western part of the state to help donate. But please do not donate to FEMA. You are hindering a lot of what people are trying to accomplish out in the western part of the state. FEMA doesn't understand that these Appalachian people are built differently. I'm very familiar with them. They are not going to stand by idly and have government officials tell them what to do. FEMA's playing a game of FAFO because free men don't ask for permission. Again, please donate and help these people out. They need us now more than ever.
Yeah, so you heard that there. I mean, that's from a police officer, boots on the ground. And let me tell you something. I said this in the last video that I made on this topic. There, in my humble opinion, this is just my personal opinion, all right? I don't have any insider information. But for me, 2 + 2 is 4, right? All day, every day. I don't care how you flip it, how you want to stack them, you want to flip them, switch them around. 2 + 2 will always equal, right? If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, well, gosh, it's probably a duck, right? So I want to show you guys this map, okay? This is Carolina. Look where most of affected area, what color is that? Yeah, bright red. Bright red. That area that's been affected the most, right? It is bright red. To me, it's obvious what's happening. And if you don't want to take my word for it, listen to David Axelrod, who is a former advisor, I believe, to Obama. Listen to what he had to say.
It's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes, another
storms, and there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area, but there are a lot of Republican voters there.
Key.
But those voters in Asheville are, they're, the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale, kind of liberal voters, and they're probably going to figure out a way to vote. not sure a bunch of these folks who had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in Western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign.
Just saying, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Like to me, it's obvious what is happening here. Most of the areas affected were Republican counties that were going to overwhelmingly support Trump. So what do you do if you want to win? Why? One, so people are pine boxed. Two, the slower you walk it, the later people can have their lives put back together. You only have about a month, less than a month, to this next election.
And he's making a good point. Yeah, you can't deny it. You can't deny that these people, for one, have shown that they don't want Trump in office because Trump is not on board like Biden is with this plan. And remember, Trump was in office in 2020 when all of that chaos happened, right? And I wonder where would this country be if this man wasn't in office at that time? They would have taken. This is how bad they want this man out of the way, right? And I'm not going to praise Trump. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm not for Trump. I'm against Trump. I believe that what most of you people believe is the Antichrist is Donald Trump. But there are other factions of evil that don't want this type of evil in the world. And these people are pushing up daisies, man. They catching cases. And like I said, this is high treason, what they're willing to do. And they don't care if you're voting for them or not. If you're in their way, you're just collateral damage. What do you think that they was making all these movies for? With all of this true lies and all this other stuff. Collateral damage. Why do you think that they was making all these movies? For nothing? All right? Now let's go back to this other video and let's hear this woman say this thing about the dams. Just like in Katrina. And most black people got messed up in Katrina. Matter of fact, remember, they was claiming that they was hunting black people during Katrina. Remember, the homeless people during Katrina were saying, don't go up into these homeless shelters or these shelters because they taking people in the shelters. And I believe all of that. I believe that these people have had this agenda for so long that everything that we think is a crime or happening or whatever, it's these people. Like in Chicago, right? All the people that's shooting people in Chicago may not be these gangs shooting each other. It might be outsiders putting on these so-called synthetic masks that look real, that look like real human beings, and they might be doing it. They have testimonies of people claiming that they've done that. So you got to begin to add all of this up, man. This is it for this country, okay? Now let me go back to that video of status quo or coup or whatever, however you pronounce it, and listen to what this white lady down in North Carolina is saying when she speaks about those dams. All right, so let's continue with this video account of what was really happening down in North Carolina.
Need help desperately.
In addition to the horrifying images, dead bodies and the smell that you described, it sounds like there's also a lot of people still trapped.
Yes, that's a big problem. Okay, so there are people. Fairview, North Carolina fire chief is turning away private helicopters that are trying to come in and help. Everybody they're turning help away. The people are trying to help, and our help is being turned away. I don't understand what is going on.
This is how bad they don't want Trump to get in office. Right? Think about all of those corpses that's just down there that these people are trying to get people rescued. They got to deal with the dead bodies. And they're not letting these people come in and help. Listen.
Still have people trapped. FEMA does not have it under control, and we need help.
Talk about you living about an hour outside, so you're not in the worst of it. But you said there's long lines for gas and other things. Talk about how it is in your area and other areas as far as power, gas, food, etc.
So we were without power for 3 days, and we were the fortunate ones that got it on in a few days. We did have water because we were in the city. The water was still working. But, now I'm a kind of person, I have a lot of food in my house. We have a lot of kids. So, we were pretty good. But there's a lot of people. So most of the grocery stores, the two main grocery stores, Ingles and Food Lion, they weren't able to open the first few days. Either they didn't have power or they didn't have staffing. So some of, maybe the local Dollar Generals were open. Some of the local stores were open. So even supplies are in the short. People are going to by the thousands to stores that are open, because they're having to travel. They're coming down from Asheville. They're coming in from Hendersonville. They're coming in from other places because they have nothing. They don't have power. Their stores aren't open. So they're coming in from everywhere trying to get their needs. And there's just not enough. There's not enough. I just yesterday got a notice on my phone of 3 different drop points, 3 different locations in South Carolina where people can go to pick up water and emergency supplies. That's all I'm aware of at this point.
And for you went into Asheville. You go in to try and help, or you went in because you have family there? You're in about an hour from Asheville.
We had family members there. They literally, so across from, they're just down the road from the VA in Asheville. There was a huge apartment complex from them. The apartment complex was underwater. They literally watched multiple neighbors die. One was hit by a tree. Others were washed away. Literally, the house was floating away with people in it. They are in shock. They are traumatized. We went in to get family members out, and thank God we did. We barely made it to them. It was a miracle. We did.
Can you kind of talk about, because obviously in the case of these hurricanes, which are coming rapid and much worse in recent years, obviously people in Florida tend to, I don't know about be prepared, but at least have a few days warning if their area is going to be kind of in the bullseye. Did your area, Asheville, maybe you thought you'd be affected, but did you think it was going to hit as hard there?
No, not at all. We're nowhere near the beach. We're inland by a few states. So sure, we thought we were going to get some rain, tropical storm, wind. We were prepared for that. We were absolutely not prepared for the devastation that came. No, that kind of warning did not come. Here's another problem that is currently happening. Our dams are in jeopardy. They have not been repaired the way that they need to be. Now all of the debris from the homes, from people, from everything is starting to put pressure on our dams. So there are still areas that are currently in danger of still possibly being flooded because of these dams.
All right, so you heard it, And so what do you think they're going to do? They're going to have to blow them dams out like they did in Katrina and let all that water go back to the ocean, because that's just too much debris in order for these dams to hold. So either they blow the dams, or they just let that pressure build up and let all hell break loose. But this is a very dark situation. Now, while I have your attention, let me go back here. Okay, I'm gonna close out this video with these a couple of verses here. All right, and this is Revelations chapter 13, and I want you to stay focused on the plan of Israel surpassing America as the #1 country in the world. And I want to leave you guys with these verses and this thought in your head. Okay, this is Revelations 13, and I'll start at verse 11, and it says, "I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb," which means that this is a nation that is pretending to be for God, right? And and he spake as a dragon. See, so it's going to appear one way, but within its heart, within its inner self, going to be demonic thing. But listen, it says, "And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him," right? So Israel is just going to take over America's role. That's what they're trying to do. They want to be seen as the world power, as the world global power, right? And remember that Muslim guy, I don't know what his name is, but the Muslim man, he said that one of the things that they needed to do was grab more land. But what do you think they're doing? They're forcing the Palestinians out, and they're grabbing more land. And so as they grab more land, they're going to become more powerful. And so this is why it says here, "And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him." Because this is what they did in America. They're going to do everything that America did. But they don't need America as they turn off America. This new be created Israel state is going to do things just like America did. And it says, "And he calls earth and them which dwelt therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Now, brothers have broken this down on one manifold, and they are absolutely right on that manifold. But on this manifold, we're talking about the nation of Israel, like Donald Trump said, is going to be wiped off the map. And as they wipe it off the map again, you're going to see it reform quickly, because this is a plan. And the whole world is going to wonder, how could they put this nation back together? Because it was pre-planned. Okay? And it says, "And he doeth great wonder, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in sight of men." That's 9/11, right? That's 9/11. Now let me go here. Revelations chapter 3, verse 9. It says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee." All right, so there's a group of people who's pretending to be the tribe of Judah. And it's not a coincidence that that nation is fulfilling this prophecy, right? Which most people ignore, but that nation is 100% fulfilling this prophecy. Now, let me go to Revelation chapter 17. And remember, Christ himself said that these people that are claiming to be the tribe of Judah, right? Because Israel in the day of King David had 12 tribes in it, not one. So right there, we know that this is a lie. The fix is in. These people have been lying the whole time about this situation. Okay. Now in Revelations 17 and 15, it says this on this manifold. Right? And it says, "He saith unto me, the water which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes, nations and tongues." See, a lot of us think that this is America. This is not America. This is the newly reformed nation of Israel, after whatever conflict happens over there, they're going to reestablish that. The whole world is going to wonder, how in the world did they do it? Because they were all a part of it. Palestinians, certain factions of the Palestinians, and the Zionists of Israel. All right. And then it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Who is the whore? See, on another manifold, we'll say the whore is America. But the whore is not America. The whore is Israel. Because Israel is the only nation on earth that is mimicking the biblical Israelites. They have taken our name. They have taken our status. They have taken our land. That's not their land. That's our land. And the whole world is going to wake up to this after all of this takes place. So what we're about to see, Donald Trump was spilling the beans when he said that they're going to wipe that country off the map. Why? For God has put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree. Give their kingdom unto the beast. See? Till the words of God shall be fulfilled. Right? And so this whore that is sitting upon the beast is going to turn against it. But it's not going to happen until they reconstitute the nation that you call Israel that's in the world today. Now check this out. And there are 2 out of 3 of the men that the world calls the Antichrist, which is Napoleon, Hitler, and then supposed to be somebody else, right, to come along and fulfill this thing. But did y'all know that Napoleon wanted to establish the nation of Israel back in his day, right? Let me read through this because this is important. Listen. Right, so this is Wikipedia, and it says the first. Hold on, let me see if I'm at the top. You see here? It says Napoleon and the Jews. So if Napoleon is being described by Notre Dame and others as being an antichrist, you should be really concerned at what this so-called antichrist was up to. Let's find out. All right, the first law is to emancipate Jews in France, where acted during the French Revolution, establishing them as citizens equal to other Frenchmen. Now, isn't it ironic that the French president said that they were no longer going to send weapons over to Israel? And Netanyahu said that that's a shame, that they would no longer support them. But that goes back to this thing that Napoleon did, the Antichrist, right? In countries that Napoleon Bonaparte's ensuing consulate and French Empire conquered during the Napoleonic Wars, he emancipated the Jews and introduced other ideas of liberty. He overrode old laws restricting Jews to reside in ghettos, removed the forced identification of Jews by the wearing of the Star of David. You see? So they put a mark upon these people back then, right? With using the so-called Star of David. In Malta, he ended the enslavement of Jews and permitted the construction of a synagogue there. He also lifted laws that limited Jews' rights to property, worship, and certain occupations. In anticipation of a victory in the Holy Land that failed to come about, he wrote a proclamation published in April 1799 for a Jewish homeland there. See? For a Jewish homeland there. Where? In France. In France. So if the first Antichrist liberated the Jews, what did the second Antichrist do? Y'all should be concerned about that. What did Hitler actually do? He did what they're about to do again. He made those people suffer, and through that suffering, gave them access to this land in Palestine. Now remember, when they went into Palestine to reclaim it as Israel, they did not know what to call it because they had no idea what we called it, right? And so they called it initially Palestine. Then they called it the state of Israel, because that sounded a lot better, right? The state of Israel, right? And so what I'm trying to point out is that both Antichrist, Napoleon, and Hitler both played a role with the so-called Jews getting into that land or wanting land for them and turning back. And in Napoleon, in the case of Napoleon, he emancipated them. But Hitler couldn't do that because what happened with Napoleon failed, right? It says here. It failed to come about. So they had to do something to trigger the world to accept what they were trying to do. And they're doing it all over again. I think Donald Trump spilled the beans. That part of this plan is to cause such devastation in Israel that no one in the world will be able to deny the reformation of a new Israel. And this new Israel is going to be far above America. Okay, I don't know how it's going to happen, but somehow America is going to break ties with Israel, right? Because they are causing Israel because Israel has to look at America as its number one threat, because America claims to be the number one country. And if those people are supposed to be God's chosen people, then no other nation should be above them, including America. This is what's happening. This is why they're bringing this country down to its knees, period.
People who have no place to stay. Children are dying, souls out there being taken. What are we gonna do? Crying from the inside out, burning from the avenue, and it's hard out there for a friend. And you know you're trying to win, and it's harder when the closing of when they're left with sin. You will seek and you will find. See the burning through their eyes, and that's when we'll find in the end. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Yeah. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. 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 Can't you see time is this home was near. Wasting it in this life, people hide because of fear. What are they going to do? Tears streaming in their eyes, falling out the ocean blue, and the world begins to spin, and they don't know where to begin. And it's harder when they turn their backs and get left with sin. You will seek and you will find. See the terror in their eyes, and that's when we'll find in the end. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Ooh, when it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Yeah. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Ooh, when it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. 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 When it's hard out there, you burning on the ground. You're burning on the ground. You're burning on the ground. You're burning on the ground. Keep on fighting, keep on believing. You will reach into, you will find it. It's hard to do it. You'll see the outside of your life. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Ooh, when it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Yeah. When it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. Ooh, when it's hard out there, you're burning on the ground. 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 When it's hard out